In the grand story of the Philippines, some names echo with the sound of courage. Jesus A. Villamor is one such name. He was a man who looked to the sky not with fear but with a deep sense of duty. Before the world was plunged into the chaos of the Second World War, he was already training to be one of the country's finest pilots. He was part of a pioneering group of young men in the Philippine Army Air Corps. These were the first Filipino wings, soaring with the hopes of a nation on their shoulders. Villamor was not just a pilot. He was destined to become a symbol of defiance against overwhelming odds. His journey began with a simple yet powerful dream: to fly. This dream took him from his hometown in Abra to the rigorous training grounds of the military. He learned to master the aircraft of his time, machines of wood, fabric, and steel. Each flight was a lesson in precision and bravery, preparing him for a future he could not yet fully imagine. He quickly stood out among his peers, showing a natural talent for leadership and an unshakable calmness under pressure. His superiors saw in him the makings of a great officer, someone who could inspire others to follow him into the very heart of danger. Villamor's early career was a time of preparation, a quiet before the storm. He honed his skills, flying patrols over the beautiful islands of his homeland. He understood the strategic importance of air power, knowing that whoever controlled the skies held a significant advantage. He and his fellow pilots were the guardians of the Philippine airspace, a small but determined force ready to defend their sovereignty. They were a band of brothers united by their love for flying and their unwavering loyalty to their country, a bond that would soon be tested by the fires of war. This period shaped him into the leader he would become. It was during these peacetime flights that he developed the instincts of a true aviator. He learned to read the clouds, to feel the rhythm of his engine, and to trust his own judgment completely. Every takeoff and every landing was a rehearsal for the battles that lay ahead. He was building more than just flight hours. He was building a reservoir of courage and expertise. This foundation would be crucial when the peaceful skies over the Philippines were suddenly filled with the roar of enemy planes, calling him to his heroic destiny. When the Japanese invasion of the Philippines began in December 1941, the world changed overnight. The Philippine Army Air Corps faced a formidable enemy. The Japanese forces were larger, better equipped, and had more modern aircraft. For Captain Jesus Villamor and his men, the challenge was immense, almost insurmountable. They were flying outdated planes like the Boeing P-26 pea shooter, which was no match for the Japanese Zero fighters. Yet they did not shrink from their duty. They knew they were the first line of defense, and they had to hold that line no matter the cost. Villamor was the commander of the 6th Pursuit Squadron. He had to lead his pilots into battles where they were severely outnumbered and outgunned. The pressure on him was enormous. He had to make life-or-death decisions in a split second, all while flying his own plane through a storm of enemy fire. His leadership was a beacon of hope for his men. He instilled in them the belief that courage could overcome superior technology. He taught them to fight smart, to use their knowledge of the local terrain to their advantage, and to never, ever give up. The early days of the war were a brutal test of their resolve. Airfields were bombed relentlessly, and the small Filipino-American Air Force was decimated on the ground. Despite these devastating losses, Villamor refused to be discouraged. He gathered his remaining pilots and planes, determined to continue the fight. He knew that every enemy plane they could shoot down, every mission they could fly, was a blow for freedom. His courage was contagious, spreading through the ranks and inspiring ground crews and fellow officers alike to keep resisting the invasion with all their might. This period was a crucible that forged heroes. Villamor watched many of his friends and comrades fall, but his spirit remained unbroken. He understood the grim reality of their situation, but focused on what they could do, not on what they couldn't. He led reconnaissance missions, gathering vital intelligence on enemy movements. He led patrols that challenged the Japanese control of the air. He showed the world that the Filipino spirit was strong and that they would defend their homeland with their last breath, proving that heroism is not measured by the power of one's machine, but by the strength of one's heart. On December 12, 1941, a truly legendary event unfolded in the skies over Batangas. Captain Jesus Villamor was tasked with a critical mission: to intercept a formation of Japanese bombers and fighters heading for a Filipino-American airfield. He knew the odds were stacked against them. He would lead a tiny force of only 6 P-26 pea shooters against 54 Japanese aircraft. It was a mission that many would have considered suicide. But for Villamor and his pilots, it was a necessary act of defiance. They were determined to protect their comrades on the ground, whatever the personal risk. As they climbed to meet the enemy, the sky filled with the menacing shapes of Japanese planes. Villamor calmly gave his orders, positioning his small squadron for the attack. He led the charge himself, diving headfirst into the much larger enemy formation. The air became a chaotic whirlwind of machine gun fire and roaring engines. Villamor skillfully maneuvered his obsolete P-26, a plane affectionately called the pea shooter, against the far more agile and powerful Japanese Zeros. It was a classic David versus Goliath battle, fought thousands of feet above the earth. In the intense dogfight that followed, Villamor displayed incredible skill and bravery. He targeted a Japanese bomber and with precise bursts of fire sent it spiraling down in flames. His daring attack shocked the enemy and inspired his fellow pilots to fight with renewed ferocity. They followed their leader's example, weaving through the enemy formation and causing confusion and disruption. They were a small thorn, but a very painful one for the Japanese force. The courage shown by these 6 pilots was nothing short of breathtaking. Although they could not stop the entire enemy force, the actions of Villamor and his men were a tremendous moral victory. They had faced an overwhelming power and had not only survived, but had also inflicted damage. For his extraordinary heroism and leadership during this battle, Jesus A. Villamor was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, one of the highest military honors in the United States. He had proven that a determined pilot in an old plane could be just as deadly as any modern fighter, becoming a legend in the process. Jesus Villamor's heroism did not end when his plane could no longer fly. After the fall of Bataan and Corregidor, he did not surrender. Instead, his fight for freedom took on a new form. He became a key figure in the resistance movement, a spy master working in the shadows. He used his intelligence and cunning to establish a vast network of agents, gathering crucial information about Japanese military plans and troop movements. This intelligence was secretly sent to General Douglas MacArthur's headquarters in Australia, providing a vital link for the eventual liberation of the Philippines. His work in the resistance was just as dangerous as his battles in the air. He operated under constant threat of discovery and capture, knowing that the price of failure was torture and death. Yet he led this clandestine war with the same courage and composure he'd shown in the cockpit. He organized supply drops, coordinated guerrilla activities, and kept the spirit of resistance alive among the Filipino people. He was a leader on the ground just as he had been a leader in the sky, a constant reminder that the fight for freedom was far from over. After the war, Villamor's contributions were recognized and celebrated. He was a living hero, a testament to the indomitable will of the Filipino people. His story became an inspiration for future generations of soldiers and citizens. He showed that one person's courage could indeed change the course of history. His legacy was not just about the medals he won or the planes he shot down. It was about his unwavering love for his country and his relentless pursuit of freedom against all odds. Today, his name is immortalized in one of the most important places for the country's defense, Villamor Air Base, the headquarters of the Philippine Air Force. It is a fitting tribute to the man who once led the nation's first air warriors. Every time a Philippine Air Force plane takes off from its runways, it carries with it the legacy of Jesus A. Villamor. His story continues to inspire young pilots to look to the skies and to serve their country with the same honor, courage, and dedication that he embodied throughout his remarkable life.
So hit that subscribe and ring that bell too, for history's wonders waiting for you. Billy at Works, let the knowledge ignite, exploring the past with all of our might.